What's up, everybody? This is Dallin, Candland. We are back with you today, episode number 60, talking about my morning. I was so out of the game. Holy cow. I had somebody, I was going to do a call with them at 9:30 today. They dropped the ball and did not call me. So that led to some questions like, am I even worth talking to? And it just wasn't a good way to start the day. Got a lot of sleep, but I don't think it was the best quality sleep. And I want to talk to you about the three things I did to kind of bounce back from this and kind of get back on the horse, so to speak. Not too hard to do these things, so I hope that it is helpful. Number one was I really tried to get to understand the worst case scenario. So Good to Great talks about the Stockdale Paradox, and basically, I think that's what it's called. With that, basically, you have absolute faith you are going to make it through this, but you also are looking at all the brutal facts, all the things that you don't understand, all the things that you need to understand to move forward. So with me, I looked at my homework for today, I looked at the classes happening today, and got the best information that I possibly could just to take some immediate action to cure some of that fear. And what looking at the worst case scenario does for me, it just helps me to kind of get a better idea and see the opportunities that are there. Because I think sometimes with the worst case scenario, you think there is no opportunity, but it's often quite the opposite. There's always opportunity. It's just about seeing it and seizing it. It's two-part process, usually two-part process. Along with that, I try to get an initial win. So my initial win was just going and meditating in the bathroom. And I thought it was going to be complete bogus and not helpful, but I ended up getting an idea for how I could better journal my overall progress. Because my overall progress meter for life right now, I don't think it's very enticing, very helpful to help me take the steps forward I want to take, as opposed to some of the video games I play, which make it so comprehensive. There is no room for doubt. Hey, you're going up in melee skill. Hey, you're going up in this. Hey, look how much progress you've made on the map. And I want that kind of thing for my life. And so I just made a really basic version of that in a journal that I haven't been using, and I'm excited to try that out. More on that later on in the episode. Number two is just rescripting. And I think with these worst case scenarios, with these rough hair days, it makes you want to throw your whole day out of whack and be like, okay, I did not live up to this identity of being a college student or being this. And you immediately start writing your story with a bunch of blanks that don't make any sense and aren't true. So something that I did that was really important was I got out my Evernote, and there's this notebook I have called Notes to Myself that I just kind of will keep in tabs on myself. And I was like, hey, Dallin, we've been pretty hard on ourselves lately, and the truth is, like, we just need to spend more time working on ourselves. We need to figure this out. We need to learn from our mistakes. And, it's not a now or never thing. It's not a like do or die situation, although your brain can often kind of spin it around to be that way, but it's definitely not that way. So when I wrote that down and just kind of wrote down some of those affirming thoughts, it definitely was helpful for me and kind of helped me see myself as the eventual victor in this story. It's okay to lose the battle, but I'm in it to win the war. And another quick thing is just to kind of take yourself out of the picture and be like, okay, this is everything Dallin has to do today. What can we do to make it better? What does he need to get done today? It really helps to get those things down on paper so they're not just existing in your head, becoming these potentially mental monsters to hold you back. I think that's really important to do. And you see this like with all these different kinds of stories. It's all about the author. It's all about their intent. It's all about their positivity. I remember reading the books, A Series of Unfortunate Events. Those books could have been written with a much more optimistic look at everything, but they were written with that kind of dark look, and I didn't read all of them. But it was very interesting because things would often be so bad, and then they'd get better, and then they'd kind of get worse at the end, and they move on to the next book. And you don't want your life to be like that. You want to continuously improve your tone. The president at BYU Idaho, Henry J. Eyring, he is a very good example of that to me because he was going through this really rough time, and his wife kind of got the prompting that he needed to spend more time journaling. And so he started writing in his journal and thinking of himself as the hero in his story. Because we all are the heroes of our story. All that stuff is powerful rescripting to kind of take that next step forward, reframe everything, make sure it's all in the proper perspective so you can move forward with faith, not fear, confidence, not lack of confidence, and yeah, love, not hate. Because you want to love yourself when you do these things. It makes a big difference. Number 3 is try something new. So I talked about this a little bit with the new thing I'm going to do with my notebook, different way to track my overall progress in 3 different areas. I'm going to be tracking self-care, business stuff, and spiritual stuff. So like I want to have those 3 initial wins, and I want to be able to look at my journal and be like, all right, this is the win I got this day, this is the win I got this day. And I already do that stuff, but I usually don't write it down, and so I'm interested in seeing how that goes. But this is always one of the biggest things to help me out. I watched a lot of YouTube videos today, like a lot, to like help me out, and all they just gave me a lot of ideas, and some of them were helpful. But overall, I believe like the best content should empower the user to take action on their own ideas. And so while I was watching these videos, I was like, you know what? I believe I need to just go out and use my creative thinking power, because although my brain feels completely dead, there's this creative bug part of me that wants to just wake up and just go ham. And that is always the case. And so that's what we did. Creative thinking was the play that we played, and it's always a good play to like come up with a better way to do something. And I have something I can go and ask somebody and be like, hey, this is what I did. What do you think? And they can like adapt it and change it up. Our brain craves novelty. It wants the next best thing. It wants to have the hack to watch this 5-minute video and all of a sudden you have 6-pack abs, which makes no sense, but okay. You know, it wants that quick fix. But lately I've seen that I cannot rely on the quick fix, cannot rely on that. Just hoping that one of my episodes will just blow up like gangbusters. That's completely irrelevant. And, well, it's not completely irrelevant, but that's just not the right thing to shoot for. Good to Great talks about this fan wheel idea that you, every single time you show up, you're pushing the fan wheel a little bit farther. And maybe there's some that are bigger push than others, but you are making progress, you are trying out new things. And so when you finally get that 200th push or whatever, and it's not like there's any specific number of pushes, but you're trying so many different things that something is bound to work, something is bound to get there. And so I've tried to put that practice to action, because I've tried creative thinking and tried so many different things in the past. I have this experience I can draw back on, don't need to start from zero. And so we can move forward. Don't have to be a victim of our circumstances. I got up really out of whack today, man. I think it was like wrong side of the bed. I mean, just everything, which is just not fun. But looking back now, it really wasn't super awful. I even had this point where I thought maybe I had COVID or maybe I had a fever, and checked it. No, I don't have a fever. And the funny thing is, like, a lot of times if you worry so much about something, you will develop a problem like that. If you're like, oh, I have eating problems, I have eating disorders. A lot of times you don't. Sometimes you can even, like, create a problem where there is no problem. And that's not what I wanted to do today. I think we did a pretty good job of kind of taking that first step out of the box and just being able to learn from our mistakes and try again. And, you know, it definitely has made me think about my overall approach to life and things I learned. And Thanksgiving break was fun. Thanks for asking. It was a great time. I got to go see my cousins and spend some time with them and see a lot of family. Is great, but I don't think I got enough homework done. But it's okay, because we're going to move forward and we're going to keep trying new things, and we're going to try again, because that's what life's all about, right? It's just trying again. That's my quick thoughts. Hopefully it was beneficial in some way. Again, those thoughts are looking at the worst case scenario, getting that initial win to move forward, because the brain loves momentum in either direction. You usually can't tell, honestly. and then rescripting your day using like a journaling mechanism or something to kind of make it a little better, put into perspective. And then number 3, trying something new you've never done before, giving yourself that novelty without basically turning it on its head. It's like the brain wants all these different things. How about you try to make something yourself, make your own solution? And of course, prayer and everything else can be helpful in that situation too, as it can in every situation. But that is everything we have for today. Hope it was beneficial in some way. I will catch you guys in the next episode. And don't forget to yield today, and it'll be a better tomorrow.